All right, moving on. Antoine Walker joining us now. Twan, we're talking Warriors. They're on to the finals for the 6th time in the last 8 seasons after beating the Mavs last night. They did it this year without Kevin Durant. You know, the same Kevin Durant who was swept in the first round of the postseason. But it was the closest sweep ever, though. Am I right, Broussard? Certainly not.
Yes,
what
absolutely.
KD certainly not what KD envisioned when he left the Bay for Brooklyn. Nick, I'll start with you. What does the Warriors' run to the finals mean for KD's legacy?
Oh, I know KD hates these types of discussions, but we love them. So here's the deal. In the most basic one is this. I think on nearly everyone's player rankings list, all-time players, I think Steph overtakes Durant if he wasn't already ahead of him. So I think that's very basic and very simple. You're talking about the best players of an era. LeBron is a clear-cut, undeniable one. And then KD, Steph, and Giannis was looking like he would be in that discussion. I think he will end up in that discussion, but he's probably got to win more. To get there, I think Steph is a clear-cut too. But the other thing is kind of more of a macro story, and I'll throw this to Brew, which is, I don't think it's unfair to say folks that already had little questions about Durant's championships in the Bay Area, even though he won Finals MVP and was, and I want to make this very clear, utterly exceptional in those finals. Some Finals MVPs, like Tony Parker's in 07, it's like, okay, somebody's got to win one. I guess give it to Tony. Kawhi's in 14. It's like, okay, somebody's got to win one. He was 17 points a game. Give it to Kawhi. Durant was unbelievable in those finals and deserved Finals MVP. However, if the Warriors win a title before he gets there, and now they're back in the finals, might win the title without him, if after LeBron left Miami, if Wade and Bosh 2 years later had won a title, that wouldn't be great for LeBron. If the year Jordan retired to go to baseball, if Pippen, and now that Bulls team was good and they won 50-some games, but if they had won the title, Brew, even you, the biggest, wearing your Michael Jordan pajamas to bed would be like, well, that's something. It's not great. And so I don't think it's unfair. I don't think it's picking on Durant to say if this core, Steph, Clay, Draymond, won a title before him, and now they're back in the finals in the same year, Durant loses in round one, the only team swept in these whole playoffs, one could say these playoffs went like as poorly as possible for Durant's legacy. I think that's right.
I agree with you, Nick, on virtually everything, but here's what I'd say. We're only trending in that direction. We're not there yet. The Warriors have to finish this off. They have to win the championship for this to really hurt Durant's legacy. Look, we knew when Durant went there in the summer of 2016 that he had gone to a team that could reach the finals without him, right? A team that could win 73 games without him, a team that had won a title without him already. But some will say, well, but Kyrie and Kevin Love were hurt. It would have been different. They may not have won. Okay. So they are just back to where they were before Durant went there. If they don't win the championship, Nick, I think people will say, okay, it was a really nice run. This does certainly help Steph to some degree, but it wouldn't really reflect too poorly on Durant. I think a lot of people would say, okay, they beat a Denver team that was banged up, didn't have his second and third best players. They beat a Memphis team that was young and lost his best player midway through the series. And then they beat a Dallas team that was young and just had one star. So, and the West was a little down, more down than usual. So I think people would look at it that way if they don't win, Twan. But if they win, then it really begins to look bad for Durant. Because, look, people already have a mental asterisk by those championships. And this will make it even worse and make it feel like, heck, Bradley Beal could have went there. They replaced Durant with Jordan Poole, and they win a championship. So any decent player could have gone there and won those rings, and it'll make it, Twan, look like Durant, from a basketball standpoint, made a horrific You can't emphasize how bad the decision to leave Golden State and go to Brooklyn was basketball-wise if they win this championship. Because he would have won who knows how many championships had he stayed in Golden State. People were already praising him, right? They had moved past, he went to a 73-win team that beat him in the finals or in the Western Conference Finals. They had moved past it, and they were praising him. Another championship, and they would have probably, moved past the mental asterisks and all that, and it would have just been all love for KD. Now, all of that's in jeopardy, Twan.
I think you guys are kind of looking at it wrong. I don't think nothing that Golden State does moving forward affects KD. Obviously, we all understand when he went there, it was really a shocker to us when he went to a team that won 73 games, that won NBA championship, that had 3 All-Stars. So he's always going to have that asterisk by his name when he gets when we think about Kevin Durant and his championships. But the one thing I can say is that I do not believe Golden State wins the 2 championships without KD. I don't think they get past LeBron anymore without KD. So I think that speaks volumes because KD went there and was really the difference, and he was obviously the Finals MVP. I think more personally, this is about KD and how he feels sitting at home watching these guys, and he could have been a part of this, and they could be working possibly on their 4th or 5th championship if he would have chose to stay. And I think that hurts even more for him individually because he left because of an argument. He left Draymond. Him and Draymond got into I don't know it's 100%, but it seems like he left because of that argument with Draymond, and they got into heated discussion that they didn't need him anymore. And he left a situation where they could have possibly won 5 or 6 titles. So, but I don't think anything that Golden State does is a reflection of him. He did what he's supposed to do when he was there. He played the highest level. He brought them 2 championships. He's the Finals MVP, and we have to respect that. We tried to, we all were upset as competitors that he joined a team that had 3 All-Stars and was NBA champions and won 73 games. But when he went there, he got the job done. So I respect that. I don't think nothing Golden State does moving forward will affect his legacy.
Okay, so I'm going to throw a caveat on that and go the other way. First of all, I don't have any issue with Kevin Durant joining the Warriors. It's like watching Christian Bale and Natalie Portman pop up in that Thor trailer. Like, great, looks like you guys are here. This will be even better. So I'm totally fine for it, and I think it was good for basketball. Here's the take, Nick, that I don't think you've thought of. What if the Celtics get past the Heat, and now it's Celtics-Warriors, and the Celtics, who have the best defense since New Year's in the league, all of a sudden start shutting down Clay and start shutting down Steph, and they end up winning the championship. Is there a part of your mind then that we have the same energy, like, you know what? Warriors needed another dominant scorer. Warriors needed the 2-time Finals MVP. And could Kevin Durant's legacy take a sneaky uptick if the Celtics end up winning? Well, I think that's Bruce's point, which is why he's saying the Warriors have to finish the job.
Right.
I buy that. Where I'm going to try to bridge the gap between what Brew and I are saying, what you and Antoine are saying to a degree is, I agree, Antoine, that Warriors team, if you just took that team and took Durant off it, they don't beat LeBron in 17. LeBron, that Cavs team in 18 is a different story because they know Kyrie. However, they wouldn't have been replacing Durant with nobody. Brew's point was, I think, if instead of adding Kevin Durant, he said Bradley Beal, or you add just another top 15 guy, would they have won those titles? I think the answer to that question is yes. I think that's the knock there. The knock is that a lot of guys, because it's not like those finals were close against the Cavs. The only time it was close was against the Rockets. That there's a lot of guys that with that team and that infrastructure, if you took out Harrison Barnes and just put in another random all-star, they would have won those same titles. That's the question there. And so I think that's why there is the issue we're discussing.
Right. Well, the Warriors are going to play either the Celtics or the Heat. Can the Celtics close out the Heat tonight? Antoine, stick around. This is going to be a fun conversation.